In bygone days, when one was allowed to travel, some of you will know that I was fortunate on sabbatical in 2019 to be able to visit Glasgow Cathedral, the shrine of St Mungo, the city's patron saint, of whom Glasgow's inhabitants, of course, are rightly proud, as we are here, of our connection with St Edmund. Now, St Mungo, sometimes known by his proper name, Kentigern, Mungo is remembered in the church's calendar of saints this week, and is one of those towering missionaries of that Celtic era, along with well-known names such as Patrick and Aidan and Cuthbert. In Mungo's travels to tell the British peoples about the love and light and good news of Jesus, his hagiographers tell of his meetings with St David and Columba. There's a strikingly beautiful tapestry in the crypt at St Mungo's Cathedral by the shrine, which visitors like myself, you're allowed to photograph. It depicts the 4 miracles that St Mungo is famously remembered for. You can make them out, I hope. The bird, the tree, the bell, the fish. You can look it all up, of course, on the internet. Much of Glasgow's streetscape too bears that symbolism, like these street lamps you can just see. The best known miracle is the story of a queen, Langareth of Strathclyde, who was suspected of infidelity by her husband, the king. He'd demanded to see her wedding ring, which he claimed she'd given to her lover. In fact, as legend has it, he had thrown the ring into the Clyde himself. Faced with execution, Langareth appealed to St Mungo for help. And in this version of the story, St Mungo caught a fish in the Clyde and discovered the said ring in the fish's mouth, thus clearing the Queen's name. Well, why tell you about one of this week's saints in the church's calendar? Well, the gift of this season of Epiphany is that it helps us reflect on how Jesus is revealed to us. We give thanks, you see, for all these very different people of faith down the ages who in their day have done that very thing of revealing Jesus to the people around them, handing on the message of the good news of Jesus, Christ's kingdom values of justice and love and generosity and joy. As you go about your daily routines, pray that you may have epiphany moments of revelation and transformation. Pray that you and all of us who make up the family of the church may play our part in telling the story of the good news of Jesus, be people of epiphany by the people we are and the relationships that we build. Ask, what are you saying to me, Lord, today, now, in this pandemic time? Jesus sent disciples out to be joyful presences in a troubled world, and people like St Mungo, they sought to do likewise. And you and I are sent in the same way. How might my words or your presence proclaim the presence of Christ? Those towering Celtic saints like Mungo went out in a spirit of trust. They relied on Jesus and were not to be distracted. I pray that you and I may be able to keep our focus in these days when we can feel so distracted, and to trust in the presence of God's Spirit, that we might be people who stand out and seek to live the kingdom values of justice and care for the planet. So as we contemplate this Epiphany season and give thanks for the faithful witnesses of saints of bygone days, ask, how have the stories of God's presence moved me, moved you? Have I been changed and open to being caught up in the life of the eternal? How have I been moved to act in a new way?